Welcome back to the weird and the wonderful with Strange Bones. That's me. So, welcome to everybody once again, and we are starting a new theme tonight. And for what it may or may not be worth, I am again going to be responding to a question from one of my viewers. Which is a bit of a difficult one to answer exactly, but we're going to give it a little bit of a bash and see what sort of a chat we can get out of it. So, Alwena, welcome. Welcome to all you guys. I hope you are having a fine evening. And we are going to get going shortly, but I'm going to remind you that, first of all and most importantly, on this channel, we have just one rule, and that is don't be rude. We don't allow rudeness, and anybody that is rude will get the boot. That said, we certainly enjoy all kinds of comments and more, and you can agree, you can disagree, as long as you're polite about it. Your own opinions are absolutely welcome. Like, share, subscribe to all of the good things that we need done to keep the channel going. So send lots of likes, they're free to give. Send lots of gifts, they're not free to give, but we like them. But that said, so some of the people that watch the channel are not from South Africa, and one of them asked me more about the sort of cultural beliefs and magic and systems and such, and I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. It was a while back, and then I was reminded today by one of the family that it would be a good thing to do. So I thought about it a bit, and yeah, well, that's what we're going to have a go and do. But now I do have to throw out a number of disclaimers, so to speak, that especially the foreign followers of the channel don't always seem to quite have in the head. We don't just have 11 languages in this country. We have a lot of different cultures, viewpoints, and a lot of other things that are going on at the same time. So the kind of stuff that I would speak about today is going to be from the experience I have had, which is from particular places and cultures within South Africa, but certainly is not representative of all by a long stretch, simply because there are just so many. And there are, it's not a set thing. Like for many people, they will say, well, their religion works in this way and there are rules to it. So if you join, say, the Catholic Church, it's the same everywhere because that's how it is. That's what you do. Hey there to the Emperor's son. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you again. Hey Spooky. Welcome, welcome. So no matter where you go in the world, and regardless of the way things work in the Catholic Church is one way. Not so in South Africa. I am good. I hope that you are in fine form. I believe you've been very, very busy lately. So I do stop in on occasion and try and send you some likes and what have you on your channel when I get a chance. I hope things are going fabulously for you. But yeah, as I say, within the sort of the traditions that you get, not only are there huge variances in terms of all the different groups, cultures, tribes, even among the clans. Dependent on where you are, there will be differences, and there's no overwhelming body that decides how it's going to be. So we will have to give a number of generalizations for this, and I will have to give you certain disclaimers along the way, because what I learnt was very specific to specific areas. So it's not necessarily the same. So if anybody else has different experiences, I'm going to say absolutely do throw your comments, because there's no one correct thing, really. There's general things that are the same, but there are lots of specific differences as well, and it does depend. It depends on your, where am I? I am at home, and it is tipping down outside like you will not believe. So yeah, that is rain, and it's quite hard rain. I'm hoping, by the way, sometimes this causes the live to cut out, and sometimes it don't come back. So if I vanish, that's why. Just in case, because yeah, it can really become pretty bad, and we're having quite a doozy tonight. So I hope you've got a drink. So in terms of, I've been asked, yeah, that was a good strike of thunder, rattled the windows. So unfortunately, nothing I can do about the weather. But yeah, I hope you all can hear me all right. So to give you a little bit of background as to where this is coming from, this is particularly me growing up in KwaZulu-Natal, in Zululand, southern Zululand, by and large, and then moving up to what is essentially the Valley of the Southern Hills. Now, I learnt a fair bit, and one of the people that I knew out there, sort of a friend in a way, was one of the senior Isangoma for that area, and for whatever reason seemed suitable to her, I suppose. I was too young to think that it was surprising, and she never gave me reasons. She taught me quite a bit of stuff. So particularly Zulu, particularly Southern KZN, particularly Valley of the Southern Hills. Now, you will find in the different cultures all over South Africa a lot of differences, and even within the Zulu, quite a fair bit of differences. Spooky, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's weirdly enough quite warm, and it is tipping down. The storm is really quite a doozy.
Okay.
So to the degree that even one of the dogs is snuck inside, because she's really not happy with the storm. She doesn't like storms, and normally they're not allowed.
Raining, yeah. And
Yeah.
My cat came and bothered me, and she's all wet because she needs to go outside to use the bathroom.
And doesn't want to. Dad.
No, she went. And then
Okay.
she came back, asking me to wipe all the water from her.
You see, it's your
was
fault,
late.
Dad. You must turn the rain off when she wants to go out. It's cat logic for you. So I hope.
Hey,
Hey there, how are you doing?
I'm good.
I'm glad to hear it. So, yes, the topic for tonight is partly personal, because this is my experience, and it's what it means to be a traditional user of magic, shall we call it, in a certain part of the Zulu culture.
Or the black magic.
Yes, but remember, of course, as I've said, it's not necessarily exactly the same everywhere, so do give opinions if you know
I have
differences.
experienced it before.
Excellent. Now,
So I've done some magic before. I know a few card tricks.
well, right there, we do need to actually point that out because in the understandings there are certain viewpoints which are different in many places. Obviously, as Spooky's saying, yeah, he's done a few card tricks. Most of us think of magic as being that. It's illusion, tricks and what have you. What we are talking about here technically counts as magic, but in many ways isn't. It's more a way of dealing with the world and the spirits, which is not quite magic per se. And that's a very important distinction because if you talk of magic with the Zulu, they immediately think you're referring to Abatagati, which is bad. So you would never call.
I think of voodoo and magic. I think of Sagoma.
Yes, so you would never call an Isangoma or an Inyanga a witch. Witches are bad. They are not. Therefore, they are not witches. So, at least in South Africa, and yes, I know that what with the pagan revival worldwide and all the rest of it, people are saying, no, to be a witch is a good thing. Well, be careful because it depends where you are. In South Africa, a witch is a bad thing. If you are a good practitioner, you're not considered a witch, even if you use magic and things. So we do need to keep that distinction in mind. Okay? So you get two kinds of viewpoints, as it were, the good ones and the bad ones.
A lot of stories, I'm sure you'll see them in books and movies. They've always have villages and then they've got a seer.
When they do it,
Normally
I've
like
tried to raise it, but when
Okay,
they
whoa,
do
whoa,
it,
whoa,
it's
whoa, whoa. One sec. You're both talking at the same time. I missed both of you there. Hold on. So, Spooky, what you said, they have villages and?
A seer.
Yes. Keep that image in mind because that's very similar. Hamza, you were saying?
I was saying, when I try to get it away, like like when I've dealt with it, the only way to get away with it is by going to that person. But when you go to that person, they scream something like "tung tung tung sahur" or something like that. I don't know if "tung tung sahur" or "puru pataki."
Okay, the difference that you're referring to has to do with whether or not, and here again is the importance, whether or not it was magic or whether or not it was the traditional practice, because the good kind is just considered traditional practice. But if they say somebody has used magic on you, they're referring to the bad kind. And if it's a bad thing, you usually need to go to one of the healers to get it removed. So it requires.
The other way of getting rid of it is going straight to that person and asking for forgiveness. But
That
if he
is
says,
another thing.
but if
Yes.
he says "tung tung sahur" or "puru patapin," there's no way of you getting rid of it because then it's
Well,
stick with you forever.
so the understanding is very much tied to society as such. So if you can get forgiveness from the person who sent it, and then it goes away. If you can't, or if they are truly bad, then on your own you can't get rid of it. Then you need to have somebody who has enough power to counter them. And you go to some form of religious leader who will be able to counter what is essentially a curse. Now, Spooky raises a very interesting point, quite correctly, because the viewpoint there is, in many cultures, in the old days, you would have a seer, And that kind of does fit, because within the understanding in the Zulu culture, we don't all know necessarily how to properly deal with the spirits. So we would have somebody who is skilled, who is an expert, who can manage that kind of thing. Now, you actually get, within the Zulu culture, 3 kinds of good magical practitioner. The first kind is the Isangoma, who deals with mostly the spiritual side and that sort of interaction with the spirits and the ancestors and all the rest of it. Then you will get the medical side, the healer, the Inyanga, who is going to deal with the medicines and things. Sometimes you need both, dependent. And then the third kind, which is often not spoken of or known about, is the blacksmith, who deals with specific kinds of magic to do with the creation of things. Now, separate to that, you will have the Abatagati, who are the bad ones, and that they are not considered to be part of the proper set of things because they are bad. So we would need to just talk about all of them. Now, of course, the most famous part, if you will, is that the Isangoma are known to be able to see what is said by the ancestors, and possibly to a certain degree even understand to a part thereof what the future may hold and things like that. Now, this is just one of the kits that was given to me way back when. To give you, this is a small one. I don't know if you can actually see it. I will tip the camera in the hope that you're capable of. Whoops.
It keeps on disappearing.
I know, it's terrible. The background, see if I can get it to focus. It does not want to. I'll show them individually at least. So you have varying stones and seeds and bones and bits and pieces that are marked in varying ways. So that was the bit that I got. Now, as you progress in your level of skill and your art and all the rest of it, it becomes an incredibly personal thing, and it grows along with you, and you get more and more bits dependent on your particular skills and style. And obviously they are a very important part, but there are a whole number of things to talk about in terms of what they use and why, and how to tell if who you're dealing with is good or bad. So let's sort of begin with the general understanding. So in terms of what I suppose you would call strict description, we would say that they are animist, which basically means you're talking about a group of people who believe in spirits and a great many things, and the interaction with things in this world, not just in terms of a God. Now, they do, of course, believe in a God, absolutely. But it's understood that God is very, very important, and it is not always wise for you, who is just a mere mortal, to be going and bothering God. So it is the ancestors who interact with God on your behalf, and therefore you must interact with the ancestors. Now, you get a lot of different ancestors. You get the corporate ancestors that belong to all of your people. So all Zulus share the Zulu ancestors. You will get your clan ancestors, which everybody that is a member of the clan will share. and you get your family ancestors that only your family share. So there are different ones, different kinds, and you interact in different ways, but mostly through, as we said, the Isangoma. Now, how do they work? So you've got you're dealing with the spirits of this world, and the dealing with the ancestral spirits, the Amadlosi, Abapansi. Okay? It works through dealing with your Isangomas, through things like the bones and varying other rituals and things. And then, of course, through the Nyanga with the traditional medicines, with the Muti. But it all healing. Hey, Shady, how you doing? All your healing is involved with not just a physical medicine. Like if you go to the doctor in Western society, you get a pill for whatever ails you and that's it. That isn't the view in the Zulu tradition. Clearly the illness has a cause. So you must not only cure the illness, but you must cure the cause. And it's usually considered a social thing. Now, it might be a good social thing or a bad social thing. So if it's a bad social thing, you've upset somebody and they've basically lawyered you, they've sent a curse at you. Or it's your ancestors talking to you and they're catching your attention. And of course, if you don't respond correctly, they're going to come back and make it worse until you listen to them, because you must give respect. So it can become quite complicated. And of course, for that, this is where the Isangoma will throw the bones and figure out what's going on and advise you, and may also not only tell you to do certain things, but may send you to an Inyanga to get certain medicines to manage the situation. And of course, there are all sorts of things used in that regard. Now, the different tools used are very important and very symbolic. So this is the good side. So you've got your muti, which basically it means a tree. Umuti is a tree. So it's tree medicines. Anything from plants, animals, minerals, and so on to sort out the problem, whether it's a physical problem, a moral problem, or whatever connection to that. So you've got the good medicine, umutu omklope. So the white medicine, it's for healing, protection, for well-being. It's good stuff and it's legitimate. So that's considered a fine thing to have. And then you've got the umuti onyama, the black medicine or poison, which is used for causing harm, misfortune, illness, or even death. And that's part of abatagati, witchcraft, and it's feared. Now, within the whole mix of this, you've got your spirits, some good, some bad, it depends, and your ancestors, which are not just spirits. So when you die, you're not considered dead in that sense. Most of the time, the ordinary oik will become an ordinary ancestor. If you are a very important person, you might become a special ancestor. But what happens if you're a really bad person? Well, then you are rejected by the ancestors and you do not become one of the ancestors, you are forgotten. In which case you become the equivalent of what many would call a demon. An evil spirit that's lost out there, and they are very malicious because they are thrown out. Now, you've probably heard of the famous Abatagati that brings up the Tokolosh. Now, the Tokolosh is a spirit, wholly a spirit, and it can't really do a great deal against living people because it's cast away. But through the rituals done by the witch, they can give it a body so that it can now act against you. So, in the understanding, Tokolosh is a made thing. It's made between a witch and an evil spirit. And that's why it's so feared, because if the witch loses control of it, it could go and do what it wants, which would be even worse than what the witch is trying to do. So it's a very dangerous thing, and you need a lot of protection from these things. And it's considered to be very, very important. And they definitely do and can cause a great deal of sickness and strife in communities and all the rest of it. So we would say, as Spooky was saying, you would have a seer. That would really be the role filled by the Isangoma, a diviner and a spiritual healer. Very, very important figures in the community. And as is often the case, within society, you've got strict ranks and social structures that people fit to. And the social structures are very important. But the Isangoma sort of stands slightly to one side. They're not really part of the ordinary structure. So you've got to be very careful around them. They can be anything they want to anybody. They can speak to chiefs even, which not necessarily easy for an ordinary person to do. Now, of course, divining is the most important, and it's not just about the future by any means. In fact, it often isn't. It's about understanding the present, dealing with the problem. Is it witchcraft? Is it angry ancestors? Is it just chance? If it's just chance, quick trip to the Inyanga and you're okay. If it's something more, though, it must be dealt with. So you've got a varying selection of things that they will be able to diagnose. Now, they can tell you what muti to use. Often they don't. They will send you to Inyanga, if there is one around, who will do the prescribing for what the Isangoma says the problem is. And this is to restore balance, harmony, and good working relations with the ancestors, or to neutralize any malevolent outside. Hey, Endless Thoughts, welcome, welcome. Now, the Inyanga is the herbalist, and they don't do a great deal of the spiritual. Their job is to work for the physical side. And I can tell you that learning to do their craft is very difficult. You better have a really, really, really good memory, because generations and generations of knowledge is passed down to each one. Huge thanks for that, Heart Me. I appreciate that greatly, and for the likes. Now, no good Isangoma or Inyanga, even if they could, would ever raise a Tokolosh. That's a bad thing. It's a dark thing. And you would be considered very bad if you ever brought something like that. Huge thanks for those likes. So only the bad ones will go ahead and do something like that. Yay! We achieved some of our goal. Thank you so much. Now, what kind of tools are we looking at? Because this is important. And you will see that there are certain signs by which you can know if somebody might be bad as opposed to one of the good ones. So obviously the bones, as I showed you, you can absolutely have to have a set of those. I have 3 sets for varying odd, weird reasons. But then there are a number of things that show your office. There is the goat's bladder. Yes. Hey, how are you doing? I hope you're in fine form there, Endless Thoughts. So the goat's bladder is worn on the forehead And it shows that you are someone who has gone through all the trials and passed. Yeah, you know, for a lot of Westerners that seems a bit of a weird thing, but it is what it is. They also will use things like certain musical instruments, drums and rattles. The most common one that I ever saw that were used where I lived, they're actually strings of bone and beads that are worn on the legs so that when you dance they rattle. It's generally not a handheld rattle like we think of, which allows you then to also use a drum. Drums are so common in so many of the older traditions worldwide. I remember seeing a whole thing about how you're simulating a heartbeat. And when you tap into that, it aids in meditation. It aids in creating that chthonic state of mind where you can get a form of connection between the physical and the spiritual. And that's why they're used. So not a surprise at all. There are obviously a number of items used for healing and ceremony, like the special beads, the ancestral beads that you get as you learn and when you complete your training. Your cowtail fly whisks, which are very important. Your mat, you have to have your mat for casting your bones onto, and varying other things such as specific charms and stuff like the Ntindele, which is basically a lucky charm. It's a very interesting thing because the Ntindele doesn't grow in Zululand, but it's a particular kind of seed, and the trees that it grows on grow near rivers, and these seeds would fall into the water and flow down, and they would be found on the shores of the river. And it was said at the time that they were seeds with no tree. Clearly magical. They came from heaven or something, because they were never found anywhere. They just turned up. And so that what they would do is they would take them and they would carefully core out the inside and fill them with varying muti for whatever you needed to sort your problem out, and then string them on a string so you can wear it. So you wear your amulet made from this magical seed filled with the relevant potion. But the seed itself has power and will bring strength to the medicine and great deal of good luck. So the Ntindele is quite a famous one. I don't know, have you ever seen an Ntindele, Spooky?
No.
Now, without being too specific, because obviously personal is personal, have you ever lived in KZN?
No.
Now, you see, this is a good example that I was explaining earlier, because KZN obviously has quite a lot of Zulu, but the moment you leave KZN, there's far less of them. Even though many people speak the language, you'll find that they are not Zulu. They may be one of the other tribes or other cultures, and there are complete differences in what they do and how they see it. So I'm sure what your experience is probably quite different in some cases to what I'm talking about. So it does vary. So among that, you've got your ancestral beads, which include a whole ton of different kinds of beads and things which allow you to connect to the relevant ancestors. Another thing which is very, very important is the snuff. Now, if you go and have a quick look on Google, they'll tell you it's ground tobacco. It isn't, not properly. It's made from a particular kind of plant, an aloe plant, which is dried until it goes very, very hard. and then ground up into a powder. So it isn't tobacco by any means, but it is very, very important for communication with the ancestral spirits. And sneezing shows that the spirits are around. Now, along with that, you have your fly whisk, which is multi-purpose. It's partly used as a symbol to show dignity, and they are carried only by people of importance. So chiefs will have them, Isangomas will have them, and so on. But they're also used by the Sangoma as part of the ritual dances and to sprinkle medicine, if it's got to be sprinkled. So along with that, you also have special bottles that are used, or containers. Obviously, bottles are the modern way. Originally, a number of different containers, like the intendele, are used to store and hold your herbs, medicine, and so on. You also have certain kinds of sticks, healing sticks, sometimes which are used to beat the sick person, to knock the evil spirits out of them. They're an important stick for healing. And then varying forms of skins and hides. So in initiation, certain animals are used and are slaughtered as part of the initiation rituals, including a goat. And strips from the skin are then worn as part of your uniform, if you will. So you have to have your animal's skin. So it is a very personal thing. It's not any old skin, it's your skin. I'm just quickly trying to get this. It is so slow tonight. I hope this is coming through okay, because I'm trying to open the multi-guest to get Mickey on. There we go. There we go.
I don't think so.
There we go. Okay. Hey Mickey, how you doing?
I'm okay, thanks. And yourself?
Good, good, good. Okay, quick question. Have you ever lived in KZN?
Sorry?
You're in Durban, aren't you? So
Yeah.
southern KZN, same as me. So you might have a similar experience in terms of this to me. We're talking specifically the traditional magic and religion, really, mostly among the Zulu, because that's what I learned growing up. So it's the new theme, if you will, is how does the original religions work and what have you, and explaining that what we see as a witch is a specific thing, not necessarily everybody that uses what is technically magic. The good ones are not witches.
I've actually got a friend who's a Sangoma in training.
Okay, that is very cool.
Her ancestors chose her apparently or something.
Yes. Well, that's one of the critical things we're going to get to in a second, because how you get chosen is really quite rough. Okay, so you've got your initiation goat skin, which is worn. Only important people, chiefs and such like, can wear leopard skins in Zulu culture. It's a leopard and genet. But the one exception are the Isangoma. They are allowed to because they have that special status. But I believe not an entire skin. Only the chiefs and the kings can have an entire skin. It's kind of like, I suppose, in medieval Europe wearing a crown. Princes could wear a circlet, which is a little crown, but only the kings get the serious one. So same, if you will. It shows your level. Now you've got your drums, which are used for meditation, ankle rattles especially, sometimes other rattles, but mostly ankle rattles. Whistles are very popular. That sharp noise at certain parts of rituals, it's become a thing more than anything. I don't think it was really original, but if you've ever heard a Zulu woman ululate, that li 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 li,
Wow.
that noise is connected to the religion. It signals to the ancestors. And now they use whistles to do much the same thing, because I suppose it's actually quite hard to do. I can't do it. I can't make that noise. So now, along with that, you may have a certain amount of body paint, especially during certain ceremonies. Now, one of the most common ones we would see will be the white paint. And that's for the initiates, especially at a certain time. And in many ways, it's not only a protection for them, it's a warning to you. Because at that point in their training, they are not allowed to speak to anyone except their teacher. If they do, they failed out, that's it, start again from scratch, or be sent home in disgrace. So it's a warning that they may not speak. And I've actually met some that they came to, because the Isangoma that I knew was one of the chief ones, she gave the final exam to see if you're good enough. So you would see students walking to come to her from miles and miles and miles away. And if I walk past them on the road, they will turn their backs and not look at you, because they may not speak to you. And it's not out of rudeness, but because they are protecting themselves as part of that training. So if she hasn't done it already, there will be a certain point at which your friend will not speak to you. They will go completely dead silent. They'll be painted white. And for that period, you may not speak to anybody, not family, not friends, not nobody. And
She's got some problems because of the ancestors are mad at her parents about something, and she can't complete her Sangoma training because the parents have to do a sacrifice first, or something like that. It's quite a complicated story.
No, it is complicated, and you are 100% correct. And this is exactly where the head Isangoma will have to come in and sort out what needs to be done, and then it must be completed so that she can continue. But now, of course, with that, there are other issues, because the way the ancestors signal that you are chosen usually is by making you very, very sick. And if you survive the sickness, then at that point, that you will be told by the Isangoma, okay, you've survived, you've been found worthy, now you must go and train. If you refuse to go and train, the ancestors may become very upset with you. And if they become very upset with you, it can go bad not only for you, but your whole family. So things like this are not just one person. In Western world, if Mickey gets sick, she gets sick, there you go, we give her a pill, she goes home, nobody else's problem. That's not the case in Zulu society. If Mickey's sick, everybody is affected. So we may need a healing for everyone else and for her, and a trip to the Inyanga to get the right muti as well. Otherwise, balance is not restored. Now, clearly your friend's family is out of balance, which means that so the ancestors will not accept her. Tough.
And it's complicated for her as well.
Yes, because she can't fix it.
Her mom is all the way in the UK. So the whole family. very complicated situation.
Okay, so how will they solve it? Are the family willing to do what needs to be done?
I'm not sure what they're gonna do now because the father passed away last
Ah,
year, and I'm not too sure. Her mom's coming back in February next year to
okay, so
discuss them.
clearly nothing can be done until February next year, number one. And number two, somebody will have to stand in for the father. Because
Yeah,
he is the head of the family, therefore he is the one that the ancestors must talk to.
exactly.
So, and they will need a stand-in, an uncle or someone like that, and they will need
Probably.
mom present. So
Yeah.
she's basically screwed until February next year. Nothing to be done.
Doesn't
Sorry.
kind of very good. She was supposed to go. She applied for a visa to go there, go live there, and they declined her.
Okay.
She was applying for a holiday visa to go to the mom for Christmas. They declined her.
Yeah.
It's like things do not seem right, 'cause it
They
doesn't
will
make
tell you
sense.
straight away. The ancestors are saying no. You
Yeah,
sort this out, or you go nowhere. You do nothing.
exactly. And she says to me she feels very stuck in her life. She's young. She's 28.
Yeah.
Um, she's struggling with college, trying to get through college, but keeps failing.
Yeah. You see, the ancestors across. They must sort this, or else it will go nowhere. Now, of course, part of these things that is very important that she would have to, and she won't speak to you about it or anyone else, only to the right people, what dreams she's had. And they must be interpreted. What dreams her family has had, they must be interpreted. What dreams have been sent to the Isangoma that's dealing with it, they must be interpreted. So the dreams will matter, and they must be considered very, very carefully. Now, about the only thing that she can do for now is to have some kind of ikubalo or umuti to keep things in stasis so they don't get worse.
Yeah,
She needs some kind of thing to keep her protected until the ancestors have been dealt with. And without that, sorry, there's no answering at all. Now, part of the things here, just for the good thereof, I've managed to pick up a couple of cool images for you. So I'm going to hold them out. Now I have to be very careful which one I choose, because some of these are not Zulu. Now in Zulu, you will never see an Isangoma with red. If you see red, they are abatagati, they are bad. But that's not true of a lot of the others. So if you go to the Siswati, red is fine. So you have to be very careful who you are talking about before you say, but that's a sign of good or that's a sign of bad. Because it ain't always the case. It does depend. Now we're going to drop you in, and we are going to drop you in, and we are going to drop you in, and I hope you will be able to see them, because sometimes TikTok ticks talk, and it doesn't talk its tick, as we well know. It did not talk its tick, so I must go and redo that very, very quickly. Otherwise, it ain't going to go. But we can fix this very quick, because this is a good picture to see. If you are interested in what we are talking about, and we just have to cut it out. If it will do it. Yes, it will do it. Yay! Plink.
Excuse me.
No problemos. Okay, there we've sorted that very quickly. And gotten rid of that. And gotten rid of that. And gotten rid of that. And opened that. And there we go. There's hope for me yet. So yes, there you will see the traditional Isangoma throwing the bones, amatambo. And as you can see, you have got the skirt with the goat skin. You've got the thing on the head, the bladder on the head. You can't see her feet, but she's probably got that as well. But you can also see around her neck the beads, which are very important. So that would be a traditional dress, and it's a uniform, essentially. That's what it is, a uniform. And people know when you see that, that's what we're talking about. Now, of course, along with that, you have all your other items of import with the varying things. Behind her, she's got all kinds of cloths, and she's got her bottles and things, and she's got her mat there, which are often hand-woven, which are pretty cool. And it is a very long time. You do not become Isangoma overnight, and you must be asked by the ancestors to join. You think you're going to just go and do it. No, they call and you answer. If they don't call, there's no answer. Now, interesting things that you will see that they often carry, because they have symbolic and spiritual importance. You have your sticks, which is like a knobkerrie. If you're not South African, a knobkerrie is basically a carved wooden stick about a walking stick size with a ball on the top that you can use to whack people. It's like a medieval mace. And they're used by warriors. Now, the Isangoma will carry a little one, which would be no good in combat, but they are symbolic and they are used for healing. Also will carry a spear. The spear is symbolic, but it's also used for interacting with the ancestors and for pointing out who has brought the evil, who has lured you. So these are tools of import that shows who is who and what is what. Now, alongside that, we must then talk about the Inyanga. Now, the Isangoma deals with the spirits and the ancestors, talking to them and finding that. Very different to that is the Inyanga. Now, in many cases, it's not just the ancestors that call. It's a generational thing. Families are Inyangas, and it's taught from parent to child all the way down. And these are the ones that are known as the people of the trees, those that deal with the physical medicines especially, though also spiritual medicines. And for the most part, if you see a good Inyanga, it's mostly herbal. There's one or two things that might be included that are animal, but usually it's herbal or mineral. And they will make a number of different things. There's the teas, if you will, or brews, which you drink. Then you have the steams. So some of the things must be mixed into boiling water, and then you must stand over the boiling water so the steam covers you. And some things you must wash with. It depends on the different types of things. And there's a whole lot. So your herbal ones, which are the core, are plants, roots, barks, and all over South Africa, you can very easily go and find a shop that will sell you all sorts of stuff. There's one in town, not far from here. It's one of the best ones I've seen around, actually. It's very well done. And yeah, it's like a chemist. You walk in, you tune them, hey, I've the Isangoma told me this is the problem, and they'll whack you out a good medicine and tell you how to use it. There are animal and mineral elements, rocks, animal horns and bones mostly, but that's for very specific things. Now the containers for storing and carrying the muti are quite elaborately decorated. Either they're carved ones, or very often these days covered in beadwork. Beads are very, very important in the Zulu culture, and the patterns can be really amazing. They're very intricate. So having the proper pots makes a very big difference. The Nunguvani. Now, the bones, of course, are important. They have to be made from specific bones, which for a lot of people is considered a bit ick. Different cultures, different countries, some don't like this. This is what it is. They are made from a kind of a cat. No, not your domestic cat. Hey?
Yeah, never mind. I always thought muti was genitals.
No, it means tree, quite literally. So a tree is umuti. And in a sense, if you talk about foliage plants in general, it's all umuti, unless you're being very specific about that one. So yeah. So your bones have to be made, I think it's a civet, if I am correct, that the bone part of the things are made of, but then it will include stones, shells, bark pieces, a whole collection of things, dependent on how the ancestors direct you and tell you what ought to be there so they can speak properly. I've seen more modern sets that have little toy cars and dice and metal things, and they can get really big and quite elaborate. So it does depend. Now, there are a number of other things that are used as well. So dreams are considered an important tool, though they're not physical. They are the primary way that the ancestors will speak to you. Either that, or they will physically come in some form, and it will be like an animal acting in a weird way, or being where it normally isn't, and then that will be them telling you, we're trying to communicate like this and this, and then the Isangoma will know we need to make the right rituals and cast the bones and speak properly. So yeah, seeing a snake generally will tell an Isangoma the ancestors are around, they want to talk. Of course, they also have other things that are used by some but not by others. The kojane, the staffs, which are quite important. The protective necklaces, the amakubalo, are very, very important. If you're going to deal with spirits, you need your protection. So you must have those. Because while the ancestors are your buddies, your friends and what have you, there's a lot of other spirits out there that are not your friends, and you've got to be sensible about these things. And then some kind of cutting tool, the utkalemba, which is used for cutting plants, getting bark and all of that. And that is actually usually not a knife, at least in my experience. It's a spear, but a little one. So it will have a long handle compared to a small knife, but it will have a knife-sized blade. Now, weirdly enough, in my experience where I was,
Isn't that a spear?
Yes, it wasn't common for any Zulus to use knives, not traditionally. these days they do, and they favor the okapi, as we know. But in traditional thing, because metal is really, really, really hard to get and expensive. So you didn't waste it on random stuff. So the warrior would have as his cutting tool the ikwa. That's it. That's his spear. It's used for fighting, for cutting things, for preparing dinner, the works. That's it. That's the tool.
Yes. And what I know why they have short spears is because some king told them to have short spears because they keep on throwing the long spears away.
Correct. It was Shaka.
Throw a short spear.
So that was a big change. A guest for your life has violated our dangerous activities and challenges. Repeated violations may lead to whatever.
Are they talking about me? What did I do? Is it because I said
because you mentioned the word. Okay, so we will now talk about sticks, and you know what we mean. So the original tradition was a kind of javelin, okay, and it was long and it was thin and it was very light, and you carried 5 or 6 of them with a medium-sized shield. And warfare was conducted quite literally by you stand at your end of the field and I stand at my side, and we chuckle a couple of insults and a few spears, and then we go home. Now, Shaka was like, this isn't enough. We've got to do this properly. If we're going to win, everybody's going to know I've won. So the shields became much, much bigger, and the spears became much smaller with a much broader, longer blade. And of course, it changed from throwing to hand, which changed the whole face of it, and he conquered the whole of the Bantu peoples in South Africa, and is known for that. But yeah, knives were never ever a thing in normal society. There just wasn't enough metal. The process, in case you're interested, I think you asked. So in order for a blacksmith, who is a kind of spiritual magician in a way, same as the Isangoma and the Inyanga, you have to go and get the red earth, which is piled up in a specially built oven with a huge fire underneath that burns for days and days and days. And there's a small hole that comes from where all the earth is down into the middle of it. And then after about 8 or 10 days of just burning and burning and burning, you break the entire thing apart, and you will find the slag at the bottom. Then you take that and you put it in a clay pot, and you burn it and burn it and burn it so that it separates out the good metal from the slag. You do this over and over and over until eventually you're left with a lump of fairly dirty iron. You then got to take that and heat it and beat it and fold it and heat it and beat it until it comes out pure and all the slag comes off. Now finally, after months of work, you'll be able to make one spear. So yeah, metal weapons were for what you used, that's it. They're too expensive for any other weird things. Everything else, spoons, bowls, digging implements, the works, none of it had metal.
But this was back then, because
yes,
they're probably driving trucks, multiple trucks per day today.
Correct.
Because steel is a massive industry, and you need lots of steel to build all this infrastructure.
That's true. So the modern change, I find, is because walking around with an ikwa in public is no longer allowed. So instead, the average man, warrior, if you will, carries the okapi. and it's become a symbol. It is the South African knife. And it's used all
You
over.
mentioned something. I'm not sure what you called it, but in Afrikaans, isn't it called a knopkierie?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the other weapon. So a properly armed soldier must have the iqwa and the keri and a shield and one or two throwing sticks for the ticking of the talking, and then with that which was thrown out by Shaka, your proper sandals, your rolled grass mat that you slept on, your bowl and your spoon. That's your gear. And when you were sent out anywhere, that's what you had. And if you got food, you cooked it and ate it in your bowl, which was usually clay, so you could put it in the fire. You had a wooden spoon to eat it with and a mat to lie on. And maybe if you were trying to be fancy, you would have a wooden headrest. But usually that was left at home. So yeah, that's your basics. So the Isangoma will have a little version to do all of this with. So the Utkalembe really is a miniature version of the Ikwa, which is used to do all the preparations and stuff. Now, of course, moving from this idea, their strongest sort of collection of ceremonies will depend on what they are actually trying to achieve. If they're looking for communication, it's the bones. The whole thing around casting them down. And you will see that they will blow on the bones in their hands because there's a phrase that is said. And no, we don't tell it to people because you must be an Isangoma to know what is said. And you blow upon them. And then you cast them. And this will then bring the answers. Then the second thing is spirit possession. Now, this is only for serious stuff. And if you go and actually have an Isangoma become possessed to give you answers, you're going to fork out a lot. It's going to be more than a chicken or two. It might even be a whole cow. Because this is serious now. And they will use chanting, drumming, dancing, and go into a trance state that allows one of the ancestors, possibly your ancestor, to possess them to communicate directly, where we need serious discussion.
Yeah.
So that might be the problem that your friend has, because now we need the family present to get proper answers. Otherwise, the ancestors ain't going to come.
Yeah.
She alone is not enough. Now, of course, music is very, very important, and singing is very, very important. And we see it even now when they've joined other religions than just the traditional. Singing remains massively central to spirituality, and the choirs are very, very important. And
How
hold
about the G20 today?
I have so many comments I could make about that, and none of them are good.
What's that?
G20.
I saw the Indian. I'm not sure. Is he a?
It's the big meeting for the world's G20 in Joburg, and they're choosing a new leader for the G20. And I believe, is South Africa becoming the new leader? I think they might be.
I don't know.
But it's
But
between...
I was looking at the post of the Indian president.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he's a president. Yeah, and South Africa welcomed him here, and they gathered a whole bunch of Indian people to welcome him here.
Yeah.
To dance for him.
That's very important. You have to do these things. If you don't do that, it's not done right. That's very cultural.
Yeah.
And of course, that's one of the things that many of the countries in the West find strange and don't quite understand. But it's part of the proper understanding. The music and the dance matters, because otherwise you won't keep harmony. Thanks for the follow there to Zeroy. I do appreciate. Now, along with that, you've got your varying forms of medicine, and the medicines depend in terms of what they are, whether they're used for physical reasons or mental reasons or spiritual reasons, and the proper colors and the way that you use it matters very, very much. Now, this is the other side of where your friend Mickey is probably struggling, because now there must be offerings, and they must be not only the right offering, they must be given by the right person, attended by the right people, or the ancestors will reject it. Now, sometimes you give beer, sometimes you use the incense and purple. Sometimes it must be an animal sacrifice, dependent on what it is, or how serious it is. And along with that, you have to have your purification ritual. So if you've done something wrong, we need... power's gone out. Guys, I may crash off. The storm has done bad things. So I'm just warning you, if I disappear, that's why. I don't even know if... And I've got... We're trying to see what the problem is and fix it. The storm... Oh, wow. Okay, so our power went out. We're going to sort it now, as long as you can still hear me. So yes, the process is as important .
It's very weird, but
There we
TikTok is
go.
turned.
I made it back. Sorry about that. These things happen. What did you last hear me say? Because I was chatting away. So, okay, so you have to do everything in the right way, with the right people present, and the right things used, or you don't get the balance back. So it might be that whatever is a problem for you is just you, in which case, okay, we can do the ceremony with you, it's easy. But if it's a family thing, then all the family must be present, or at least the heads of it. If it's something that affects the whole tribe, then we need them present as well. which means it's going to be much bigger, the cost is going to be more, etc., 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 etc. It builds exponentially, as you can imagine. So to give you an idea of some of the things you might get, I've got a couple that were given to me. To give you an idea, I don't know if you can see it, I don't know if you can see me.
No.
So I can't even show you the things anymore, but I will tell you about them at least.
Yeah, I just see the picture.
Yeah, it's crashed it's cut out my video for whatever reason. When it crashes like that, it often does. And there's not much I can do about it, unfortunately, for this live. I'd have to restart from scratch. But that's okay. We will manage. So I have a bottle of sand from the Kalahari Desert. Because it's important because of its power as one of the old places. I've got a box, which I would have shown you, I would have liked to have shown you, full of little things, odds and ends, bits of seeds, some petrified wood that was found out in the wilds of Africa. I have a quartz crystal from Joburg. I've got some old wood from the Kruger National Park. I've got seeds from the Midlands. Things that connect to places, because places matter. And you can't just go from place to place and think you can do whatever, because the spirits there will not know you. So you must become known. So yeah, I've got a whole ton of odds and ends that I keep in little bottles and jars and what have you. I've got lucky beans from the coast, KZN coast, which obviously are very important. That's a point of importance for good luck and wealth. And it connects to place. So if you were to look in the box, you would basically see what is essentially, I suppose, a bunch of just like scraps and junk. And you'd be like, why have that? Well, the answer is because they connect to people and places and are part of the greater society, and therefore they matter. And that is... Say again?
Look like a bunch of chicken bones in your hands.
I suppose, yes. It does matter. If there's no connection, then you can't connect to the ancestors. If the ancestors don't work with you, you've got no power. End of story.
Are you trying to connect with the ancestors?
I was taught many, many years ago by an Isangoma, and for some reason over the years, people often have given me small things for places that fit to that, which does make me wonder, because, as I say, I've got 3 sets of bones. I've got varying items that would absolutely fit to that have been given to me. Somewhere, I think it's packed in the garage at the moment, I've got a particular knife from Kenya, which again was a ritual knife in a carved wooden sheath. So, I don't know. Maybe the ancestors are speaking. Who's to say? So, we have that. Now, one of the things that's interesting that will fit to what Mickey recognizes, so in order to go through initiation into being an Isangoma, you must go to Ukutwasa, which there's a whole ton of rituals at different stages, special cleansing. You have to serve a teacher for a specific time. You have to have a number of tests to prove that you have a connection to the ancestors. And this is very interesting because in the past, a lot of people would claim, oh no, I have the power, etc., and they'd be fake. And there's actually a body of the real healers and isangomas, and Nyangas and isangomas, who've gotten together that have started to register the real one, same as we register a doctor. You can't just say I'm a doctor and start practicing. You'll be arrested. So they liked the idea of that and said, well, in that case, we're going to do the same. So if you've gone through with a recognized teacher, you will be officially recognized as an Isangoma, and who taught you and your lineage and everything, so that if I come to you and I think, hey, no, Mickey's not the real thing, I challenge, I can go and find out if she really is. And of course, as you can imagine, if you go and mess with a bunch of people of power and you're fake, it will not end well for you.
Yeah.
So they are now protecting themselves, but they're also legitimizing so that the customers are protected. But where it's really become useful is now Western science now knows who are the properly trained real deal, and real doctors, Western doctors, are now talking to and interacting with the real healers, and all kinds of medicines that are traditional and natural and apparently are actually really quite powerful are coming out, and people are starting to learn more and incorporate them into Western medicine as well. So the traditional understandings and teachings, because now we can say, but that one's got a proper lineage, we now can trust the medicines and start to test them properly, which is incredibly effective. So one that you may not realize, how many of you know what Amadumbe is? So we discussed it in the last live about survival. It's
Madumbi,
the big purple root.
Yeah.
Okay, amongst other things, when you cook it and apply it reasonably hot, but not scalding, to something that has poison in, it draws that poison out. It's very, very effective as a drawing medium. There's enzymes in it that basically suck toxins out of you. Remember when you were a kid, Traxa? I think now they call it Trek 8. So that's literally what it does, and it works incredibly well. And I remember I got a bit of an infection, and when I was obviously working right out in North Zululand. Going to the doctor was really not possible. So the local medicine oki ground up some hot amadumbe, put a piece of gauze over the infection, slapped some on top and bandaged it up quick, and yeah, it healed. It healed very, very well.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things like that that are powerful. Now, of course, once you've got all of their tests done and you've proved it, you then can graduate, which includes a ritual where, again, you must prove yourself. So they will hide certain sacred objects away, which everybody knows where it is, except you. And then...
I think what is illegal.
Say that again. Sorry, it's a bit faded there.
What you're talking about is illegal. Don't you need a license?
Yes. They are registering properly now, so that the ones that have gone through the proper training with the proper teachers can prove a lineage. So you can't get scammers. It's interesting. So basically, if you are with the ancestors for real, they will show you where these things are hidden, and they will take you and say, find them right now, and you must walk to them and point them out. This. If you can't, you've failed. So yeah, it is very strict. Apparently, by the way, we've just got a restriction for being bad. I don't know why. We're bad. I don't know if it was me or... Now, so...
Well, I didn't get a message this time. Previously, I got a message when I said a stick, a pointy
No,
stick.
I got one for something I did. I don't know what I did, but I got a message.
That's odd.
It's very strange, but whatever. So your African potato is very good externally and internally. Very good for psoriasis, for arthritis. It's got powerful immune boosting qualities, which makes it very good. You also have something which is called African wormwood, umhlonyane, which is used for cold, flu, asthma. It's usually used in steams so that you breathe it in. And it's very, very good. It's also good against worms and all of that kind of stuff. So very, very strong. You've got to use it in the right amounts. Otherwise, you will spend a very long time in the bathroom. The root of the buffalo thorn for all kinds of stomach cramps, internal things, stomach problems, and a paste from the leaves is used on skin infections and wounds because it's antiseptic and antifungal and all of that. The coral tree, umsinzi, the bark is used for arthritis, toothache, swellings, wounds. You've got your impepula, I don't know what that's called in English. The leaves are used for earaches and stuff, and to soften like hard skin and stuff. And then you've got, what is in English, varkoortjies? I don't know what it is in English. They're the little plants with that sort of meaty leaf that are used for wounds, fevers, acne, allergies. And then there's that funny one that looks like a sea anemone in its flower. It's yellow center and then tiny sort of thin tendrils of purple around to make the petals. And they're a triangular leaf. It's a succulent again, which are really good for blue bottle stings, scrapes, scratches. There's a whole collection of stuff that you can do that are very effective. And of course, that essentially is an untapped pharmacy that needs looking into. And I think we will. Now, where do the spirits fit in? Well, you've got the Amadlosi, who are the ancestors. So they are people. All of them are people. They have just moved on to the next stage. You don't die, you become an ancestor. Unless you're very bad and you are banned. But you have to be pretty awful to be kicked out. Now, they are part of daily life. Your family never leaves you. They stick around forever. And they need to be looked after as well. They are the intermediaries between people and God, Nkulunkulu. And if you don't look after them right, they don't look after you, and it can go very south, as we saw with Mickey's friend. They provide guidance, protection from other spirits. They are sought for help, good fortune. But yeah, they can make your life miserable if you don't connect up. So the ancestors in the Gwela Bapansi, they are still connected to you here and always will. So the soul or the spirit, the Idlozi, goes on. Whereas is it Tunzi, your personality, becomes kind of the ancestral link to what is happening here. And then your body just goes to the earth and is gone. So yeah, there are, besides going to the Isangoma, dreams, sicknesses will happen to tell you they want to talk. Animals like snakes or a praying mantis will turn up to warn you they want to talk. And that all fits around with the idea, which has been politicized and doesn't really get used right these days, of Ubuntu. It's not just about being nice to each other, is that the existence of you depends on the existence of me, and the existence of me depends on the existence of you. It's not just niceness, that's a part of it. But that life is shared. It is a communal thing and not just yours. So in order to manage all of that, you've got your rituals, your sacrifices, your offerings. You need to have umsamo, a place within your house that is for the ancestors. If there's no place for them, they won't stay with you and they'll be cross. Usually it is the head of the household who will communicate, whoever that might be. But if it's too much for just the family, you get your Isangoma in. But then, of course, on the other side, you have witches, and the witches are the bad ones, which we will get to. Now, you've got a whole collection of things. The longer we go on, the more ancestors there are, and the stronger the tribe is and the family is. And if you're ever defeated, you may lose your connection to the ancestors and become nothing. And that would be very, very, very bad. But of course, for the person who has conquered you, that becomes very, very good, because they have taken your life connection to themselves. Excuse me, I do apologize. Thank you. So that's quite important one. So Unkuluwo, the greatest one, that was created in Uhlanga, the great original place, the wet place, which some say is like a swamp or a reed place, which is why the Swazis do the reed dance. It's an echo of creation and fertility. Okay, so all of these things come from the ultimate reality, and we're an image of it in that way. And we will go back there if you are good enough. But then you also have a whole ton of other spirits that the Western explanation says that they're gods. They're not gods. But they're not spirits either. They are something more. Exactly what is very hard to explain. So you have the goddess of rivers, the goddess of agriculture and rainbows and beer, the fertility goddesses, the goddess of the god of blacksmiths, the goddess of the moon and the god of the sun. But calling them gods isn't right. It doesn't work. They are powers, but they are not the same as God, the greatest of. So it's kind of difficult to explain exactly what they are, but consider them to be guiding spirits for specific things, but more than just a random spirit. There is only one God, really. So the Sangomas are the good magic. The good healers are the Inyangas. The blacksmiths are the creators, which is all good stuff. But what happens when you're starting to talk about the bad side, because that's also important. So out of all of those, you have the good things and you have the bad things. So they often speak of the chief is the lion, ububes, or the lesser chiefs are the leopards, ingwe, because they are valuable, or the king himself is Ndlovu, the greatest of the beasts. Cattle are also considered to be massively important and are symbolically spoken of as well. But some of them are spoken of as bad. And one of the big ones feared is the hyena, impisi. And they are considered to be, just as the Ndlovu is the king, well, the witch is impisi, the bad one. So a witch across the board is someone that uses abatagati, the bad stuff. They are not users of good magic, they are users of bad magic, for malicious intent, for cursing, for jealousy, and all of that kind of thing. So when they speak of witch, they never ever mean an Isangoma or an Inyanga. The Umtagati use their powers for evil, against society, and they are the ones that will create the Tokolosh with the aid of an evil spirit to act as their intermediary. They will do it for getting at you, or if they are paid enough by somebody who wants to get at you. But now witchcraft is taken very seriously, and if somebody is accused, not just that person might even get unalived, their entire families, with extreme cruelty, to eradicate the evil from society. So it's a very, very serious accusation. You don't just do it, because if you did, it would cause a lot of problems. Now, of course, what makes them different is that whereas your proper healer uses your plants and things to do good, these ones use umuti to do bad, and they will use isiposo to create charms that will cause damage to you. They often use far more animal parts, and not the good bits, but the bad bits. So you will see they are connected to the poison of snakes and so on, and they are said to ride on baboons and have a snake within their stomach. It's all the bad stuff.
When I was
No, go on.
When I was in 2010, when I was working in Woolworths, there was a girl who I used to work with, and she got cursed. Well, she had black magic put onto her. Okay, it's very graphic, the story, so I won't
No, go on.
into it. But it was so scary because she was struggling for 10 years with this magic. She couldn't break free from it. And it was horrible, really horrible. It's like what happened to her was extremely horrifying. Like I couldn't.
And of course, the problem is that if you can't afford the necessary sacrifices and ritual, you're stuffed with it.
Yeah.
It can be a serious, and it can make you very sick.
The thing is, she didn't have the money to be able to get a sangoma to help her, and she was so sick.
Yeah, and it gets devastating. Now, of course, we know that they are connected to the Tokoloshi, but they are also, you have to watch, if you see any of these ones with digging tools, be careful, because they use their digging tools to open graves to get extramuti. They are often associated with red cloths, at least in the
Yeah.
way that I understood. But as I've said, among the Siswati, that's not necessarily the case. So different cultures, different rules, as it were. But among the Zulu, be careful of someone with a red cloth. They also have all kinds of herbs and what have you. They also, which most, in my experience, most Isangomas or Nyangas rarely, if ever, do. The Abatagati will use clay or wooden carved figures so that they can make them kind of like a voodoo doll to connect to you so that they can do bad things to the doll and therefore get you. So a form in a way of early voodoo in that regard.
Yeah.
It's not quite as organized as you will find in certain cultures like in Haiti and such, but it is there. And they are usually used inverted. Now the one really serious power that they are said to have, which people are terrified of, is they can call lightning. And they can use the lightning to basically get at you. They will hit your house, your animals, or you, and sort you out using their power over lightning. So you do have to be very, very careful of the Abatagati. Now, of course, as I said at the beginning, and I repeat again, there's no central law as how it is or how it works or who's in charge. So lineage of teacher is very, very important, and there are a great many differences wherever you go, even within the same culture, because different clans have different things that matter. So it does depend as to how it will actually work. Hey, we have a cake. Thank you for cake. I want cake now. I should never have said that. You know, normally I don't like sweet things, normally. I never have a particular want for them, but once in a while I get a serious craving. And my weakness is chocolate and gummies.
But you can is the Canderel. I think Canderel chocolate is.
Yeah, Canderel tastes like bum. I'm sorry. It's
No
disgusting.
good.
The only actually reasonably non-horrible sweetener that you can get is, what's it called? It actually looks like sugar. Say again? I thought Spooky said what it was. It actually looks like sugar, but it's not sugar. It's fake sugar. But man, it's like, for a 200-gram bag, it's like 80 to 150 rand. And yeah, you know, it's just not worth it. It's not stevia.
What is it healthy?
Yes, it is. It's perfectly good. I
cool.
just can't remember what it's called. That's the problem. I'll know the name if you said it, but I can't remember off the top of my head. And it works like sugar as well, which is really good, because very often when you make foods, what makes it stick together and stuff is the sugar. So if you don't have sugar in it, you can't have ice cream. It won't work.
Yeah.
You can't make ice cream without. You can't make sorbet. You can't make slush puppies. It's the sugar that binds it together. So it becomes a problem. I can't remember what it's called. Doesn't matter.
There's a there's a sweet shop here by us, close by, that has they have a whole variety of sugar-free sweets, gummies, and
They
hard
do, and if you
candies.
do yourself a favor, go and compare a 100-gram bag of jelly beans, normal, to a 100-gram bag of sugar-free jelly beans. And you're
Obviously,
looking at a 20 Rand difference minimum.
it sucks.
It's crazy. So, yeah,
I've got a
is what
couple
it is.
of names here, but I've got no idea how to pronounce any of them.
Oh, yes. Spell it.
Saccharin.
Saccharin. That's kind of better but not good enough for a diabetic.
Aspartame.
Aspartame is basically what's in Canderel, and it's got a horrible aftertaste.
Sucralose. Sucralose.
Sucralose. It's just a version of Canderel.
Asulfame.
I don't know that one.
Neotame.
No.
Advantame.
Okay, all of those aims have aspartame in them. So they will taste horrid. Stevia. Stevia is the top one that doesn't taste too bad, that is within reasonable price, but it's still more expensive than all the others. Stevia is not.
Leo Honeydew.
No, I've
A monk fruit.
never even heard of that. But yeah, it's rough. Basically, the easiest way to manage things is to say, you know what, I can't. Too bad. How sad. And move on. Because you've got to be rich to get the ones that are actually worth trying. I can tell you immediately if there's any kind of aspartame in a drink. And it's horrible. I don't like it at all. And it's not very good for you.
Yeah, most cool drinks these days anyway have a half sweetener, half sugar, even the ones who say as a normal drink. Like
They do.
fizzy cool drinks.
They do. You're quite right.
Like cream soda and sparberry and all that's half sweetener, half sugar.
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
They're labeled now as low kilojoule.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just realized that for the last few lives, Spooky's been wearing his hood, so that he's in keeping with the strange bonesing. We're going to have to get you a hood there, Mickey. We'll have to get something suitable.
I think I've got one somewhere.
There we go. Make it a thing. That's awesome.
But it's so hot now. It's summer.
I know.
I don't know.
But yes. So in terms of, it's quite a complicated system, and the closest one, interesting enough, which if you are interested in all of this, and I hope you are, we will see how it works among the Native Americans, because they are also animistic, and once we've done that, we will then go on to the old Anglo-Saxons, which were also traditionally animistic before you had influence from Christianity and stuff, which is very, very interesting. And of course does to connect to both ancestral spirits as well and world spirits from the Orlog, as they say. So yeah, we will do that as our theme for a little while. But with that said, and in future, we always need new themes. because you try and do a live a night with new stuff every time, and believe me, it gets hard to keep something new. So yeah, anything, if you have ideas, send them on, let me know, tell me. I'd love to do some research on and bring it out, as long as it is weird, wonderful, interesting, or you just want to know more about it, and we will absolutely do it. But yeah, I've reached the end of my experience. Say again?
We've even done space travel.
Yeah, we have. We've even done space travel. So, lots to say and many interesting things. The only thing I do warn you is, while I will do theoretical religion, I do not do current religion and whether it's good or bad. I also don't do politics in the current era, because that's just asking for fights and upsets and carry on, and really we don't need that. We're here for curiosity, interest and entertainment. So if you want me to give a praises of Trump, forget it, it won't be given. I have opinions, of course, but
B20, I was talking about the Indian president coming out, and they were dancing for him.
yes,
South African Indian people were dancing for him.
yes, dance is very important. Now,
I didn't bring it up as a topic to talk about.
no, but you see, that kind of thing is absolutely fine, because you're talking about a cultural expression at an important event. Whether you like it or don't like it is your affair, but absolutely it applies and is necessary within the context of the culture. So that is a perfect example of absolutely yes.
But I just thought it was a bit weird, because the Indians here are not the same as the Indians from his country.
No, but
Or
they
diluted.
do within a lot of the culture, both here and in India, hold a very high importance to music and dance. Hinduism is big on that. I used to know people who are professional musicians within the temple. Because of their skill, they were the ones that did the ritual music. So yeah, it is very much a cultural thing that matters massively. So it was entirely correct and cultural for both there and here. Though yes, you are correct, there is a lot of influence in other ways in this country. We have developed a kind of set of Indians of our own in many ways.
Yes, they are degenerates.
I'd be careful of saying that.
It's a bad word.
If you mean that they have changed and moved away from the strict traditional.
African Indians. They are African Indians. They are not Indians.
Indian. That is true in many ways. And it is quite important, because there are changes too, though there's a lot that's kept in line, dependent.
But they lose some of their culture and habits and traditions.
Well, they have grown and developed in slightly different ways. So you will never find a bunny chow in India. It's just not there. But you get...
Is degenerate not the right word to use?
No, degenerate means has become broken down and has become lesser.
But that's what they are. They are not pure Indians anymore. They are now African Indians with a bit of flair, with African culture.
Well, I could say they've evolved, rather. Evolution is necessary.
Are they more evolved than the Indians back home then?
Not evolved in the sense of made better than the original, but have moved slightly away from the original in an equally important but different way because of different influences, if that makes sense.
Yeah, not necessarily bad, just
Yeah.
different.
Well, we must give special thanks tonight to Endless Thoughts, who sent lots of presences and got us to get to our live goal. I do appreciate. Thanks to everybody that sent likes. We got to 2.4K, which is pretty good. I do appreciate. And I'm very glad to see we have consistently, for this live, had over 12 people for the whole of it, which is pretty cool, that have followed the live. So thank you for all being. Special thanks, of course, to the Emperor's Son, who's a long-time follower of the channel, to Spooky and to Mickey, good friends that always come on and give their opinions. I think that's a wonderful thing. But thanks to all of you who stuck around and were a part of it. I appreciate you. But we have reached the end of today's theme. I'm wondering if anybody has any particular cultural thing for a more deeper dive into the look at how things were viewed in the traditional religions that would be wanted to look at. I don't know how I'm saying this without making it a complete stuffer. Let me know. And we will definitely do more. But also any...
You've made me very sad tonight.
Why?
Just because I'm thinking about the religions before Christ.
Yeah.
Talking about, I'm not sure about Greece, but what about the pyramids and, Göbekli Tepe and
what happened
Stonehenge?
to them all?
I mean, what were they thinking about? What was their religion? Because Christ was not even born yet.
That is very, very true. And I will say that certain of the early Christians, and I'm not blaming the religion, but maybe people and history at least, did a huge amount to wipe out a lot of history, which is very, very sad. It is true. A lot of the pre-Chthonic paganism in Britain is completely gone. We have no idea.
Yeah, right as the pattern. Everything that.
So even now when people talk about the original pagan religion of Britain, they're actually not talking about the correct thing, because that pagan religion is Chthonic. It came from Europe. The original was the religion of the Bretons and the early Celts, which was very different yet again. And a lot of that's just gone. It didn't work the way things do now. Some places have kept it, and we've still got at least a little. But in many places, it's gone, it's lost. We wouldn't even know half of the Egyptian stuff if it wasn't for the pyramids and the fact that they wrote inside them. We just wouldn't. And that's probably
when
one of the...
Are you going to have a discussion of artificial intelligence?
We must do that as well, I think. We definitely must, because in fact, it's affected so many things in life, good and bad, that we do need to do a deep dive into it.
But it feels like you're not really interested in artificial intelligence.
I'm afraid of it, to be honest. In certain ways, I can see its massive advantages, but I think it might prove to be a very, very bad thing.
Afraid of it in what way?
I think it's going to really cause harm to society. I'm just saying. It's my opinion.
Well, if you think we live in an unequal world now, then just wait and see.
Right? You're not wrong. It will become even more unequal for a lot of
You'll
reasons.
have a bunch of trillionaires and a bunch of people that live like rats.
And an interesting thing that actually came up in a conversation today, and it's true. If you look at modern society, we're losing the middle class. They're fading away. So you've got the poor and you've got the rich, but you've got nobody in the middle. And the middle class are ultimately the major backbone of any society. So if they're gone, then what?
Well, they're going to be gone pretty soon.
And
AI's taking over.
whenever that happens, that's when a civilization collapses. So, well, I don't know. But we will, I promise you we will. We will do a little bit more on different early religions, and then we will take a break from it and do a deep dive into AI just to reset our brains before carrying on with it again. Unless some really good stuff comes up elsewhere, we'll see. But until then, that is all we have for you tonight. It has been absolutely amazing, and I do appreciate you all. So I can't do the proper goodbye type thing, seeing as you can't even see me. But it's been awesome. Thank you. And it's been awesome to see you guys. I get to see you. So that's cool.
No.
But lekker, man. Fist bumps and all. Cheers, Bookie. Cheers, Mickey. Have a good one. Bye.